Hello, my stamping friends. My name is Holly Peterson, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. And today we are going to be playing with some masks, I think is what Stampin' Up! Calls them, stencils or masks to make this beautiful card. I've used quite a few products on it, but I'll go over all of those that we've used. For our cutting measurements, started off with a soft seafoam base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. 2 pieces of Secret Sea that measure 4 by 5 1/4. Soft seafoam that you'll need a 3.5 by 4 3/4, and it was cut with the largest Everyday Arches dies. I think these are unavailable right now, but they should be back in stock. That was embossed, the arch was embossed with the Eyelet 3D embossing folder. And then one of the layers of Secret Sea was embossed with the dotted circles embossing folder. And then we need a basic white, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. We need a basic white, 3.5 by 4 3/4. And Secret Sea that's a 1/2 inch by 3. I'll probably end up cutting it down, and I've already embossed the thank you on there. The thank you comes from Mixed Labels. We'll be using this, You're Pretty Wonderful, for the inside. This stamp set is no longer available, but you can use whatever greeting stamp set that you have on hand. Let me get a block for this. Okay. I'm going to start by stamping the inside. The smaller white is for the inside, and on my sample, I did not do an inside, so I'm going to stamp that inside as well. And I am using basic gray ink. We'll stamp the greeting. I think the other one, the stamp set that we're using for the flowers is Layers of Beauty. It comes as a bundle with dies and masks. We'll be using both the dies and the masks today. On this other one, I'm going to stamp this little flower first over in this bottom right corner. We're going to stamp this one as well. But for the sentiment on the inside for this one, I'm going to nestle it down here at the bottom by that flower. Okay, close this for now. And then I'm going to use my Stampin' Blends. I need to grab my daffodil to light. Actually, I'm going to do Lemon Lolly. So we'll color the flowers with Lemon Lolly. And they're small enough that you wouldn't really have to do any shading. I think I'm going to add a little bit of the dark as well. You could also stamp this flower on the envelope and color that as well. And I'm just going to add a little bit. That tip seems kind of, I guess it's okay. Just a little bit. You could skip that step if you really wanted to. For the inside, I'm going to use Timid Tiger Dark. And I'm just going to color the inside. Maybe on the other one, I'm going to use the light. Not a whole lot of difference in those. Then for the leaves, I'll just use the dark, kind of come up the center of each of the leaves. And then we'll come in with the light and fill the rest of the leaves in. This is soft seafoam. I think I said that. Okay, insides are done. I'm going to go ahead and attach one of these to my original card. Oh, maybe not, because I was going to layer it on a Secret C, and I don't have that yet. We'll go ahead and put this one on this layer. Okay, I'll set that aside. This one goes over here with this card. Now for the large flower that we're going to use the mask on, I am going to use my stamp positioning tool. And that looks good there. I'm going to ink it up with a basic gray. It works better if you can put a stamp set underneath there. Kind of gives it some stability so that you can ink it better. You could do this without a stamp positioning tool. My hands aren't that big and you would need the really big block. So I just prefer to use my stamp positioning tool for these large stamps. I'm going to go over it one more time. Okay, that looks good. Then what I like to do is take a scratch piece of paper and I'm going to just put a little bit of my seal and then kind of take the stick away a little bit. And the masks. The masks are labeled. They all have a notch in the top left corner and they're labeled 1 through 5. You don't have to do them in that order, but I find that it's pretty easy to do it that way. So I would like to have enough room to mark my corners. So I think I'm going to stick this down about like that. Then that doesn't move on me. And then I line this up. I like to look at these little flowers. Oh, but it's not going to be quite, a little bit too high. Let's move this down a little bit. I like to look at the centers of those flowers. And then just kind of scooch it until the rest of the image. We've got some little flowers over here that we can line the centers up. I think that looks good. So then I'm going to take a pen or a pencil and just mark that corner there. We can mark this corner. Actually, I'm just going to mark them all. That way it'll be easier to line up each mask after this. So the first layer of the flowers I did with Lemon Lolly. So we'll get that. Oh. Let's see, can you guys see everything? I'm going to take my blending brush and then I'm going to start on the plastic and then just come in kind of light on my flowers. Whoops. Of course, you don't want it to move. And then just a real light layer. Well, I think I'm done since I moved it again. But just like that. The masks you can just rinse off underwater. I like to just stand them up and let them drip dry. You've got some delicate pieces in there. If you try to dry it with a towel, you can catch those delicate pieces. So then layer 2 is done in Daffodil Delight. And I'm going to use the same blending brush. I don't have one for each color. I just have like one for yellows, one for dark blue, one for light blue, so on and so forth. So then we're going to line this up again. And get some Daffodil Delight. Boy, maybe I need to be taping this down. Okay, I'm going to hold it there, come in and add Daffodil Delight. Okay, and then layer 3, we're going to switch over to Timid Tiger. And you could skip layer 3 if you wanted to. I like the detail that it adds. So we're going to go ahead and add layer 3. And layer 3 also colors the centers of those little flowers. I don't want this horribly dark, but so we'll just go over there. I think that's probably good. And then this will dry a little bit lighter. So we're done with that. Now we're going to do our leaves. Oops, I need to go get a green blending brush. Be right back. use a small one. And soft seafoam. And we're going to do both of the leaf layers with soft seafoam. Okay. I'm not doing very good about not moving my stencil. You can certainly tape it down if you find that you're having a problem keeping it lined up. Which down here, okay. Okay, that's that layer. And now we'll just add a little bit more depth using the same color. It'll just make certain spots darker. I got off the stencil there a little bit, but that's okay because we're going to die cut this. So I've got my two dies. We're going to take the big one and cut the entire thing out. So I will take this. If you use your seal to tack that down, just twist it and it'll come right off of your scratch paper. So I'm going to go line this up and cut it out. And then once I've cut that out, this die will actually cut out this big flower. So then I'm going to cut that out as well. Because this card, it's just, this whole thing makes up this whole card. You don't have to do any other stamping. So I'll be right back. Sorry, I'm still here. I'll be right over there in just 2 seconds here. So now what we have is this. There was a little leaf over here. It actually fell off and landed in my trash. So I'm just going to do without that little leaf. So then the rest of this is going to require a little bit of fussy cutting. It looks like I was a little bit off there, but that's okay. I'm just going to cut these two apart. And then these. So we'll just clean up this flower here. I'm not a huge fan of fussy cutting. The goal is to move your move your paper and not your scissors. So we'll just try to make this look a little bit better there on the end. This one we just need to trim up this leaf here. I think I'm going to trim this edge a little bit. Looks like I was off a little bit more than I would have liked there. Okay. And then this, I think a lot of that is going to be underneath the flower. So we won't worry too much about all of this. Okay, let's see what we have now. I've already scored my soft seafoam here, so we'll just take our bone folder and make that a nice crisp fold there. The embossed secret sea layer just goes straight on, and my Tombow wasn't playing nice in my last video. Let's see if it... Let me grab a different one. On the embossed layers, I do like to use liquid glue just because there's so much detail on there. It can get in those little crevices and help hold the paper. So we'll just adhere this one here, right in the center. And then our arch that we cut out is just going to go right on top of that. When you're doing a die cut and an embossing folder like on this one, you want to do your die cut first if you can, because if you do your embossing folder first, when you run it through for the die cut, it'll flatten your embossing. So I cut the arch first and then embossed it with the Eyelet embossing folder. Okay, so this big one we're going to put up here. I may switch it up just a little bit here. Need to cut this down a little bit. And I'm just taking my snips. Can't decide if I like it even with the Secret C or with the, I think I like it with the arch. So I'm going to put this down first and then work the flowers around it. This one's going to be on dimensionals. And then on this one, I'm just going to add glue here, and then we may stick a dimensional underneath there. Or maybe just a little bit of glue. Okay, that's the top part. This is going to go down flat. You want to make sure you keep your leaves inside the parameters of your card. They could overhang a teeny bit, but you pretty much want them inside your card base. Then this one we're going to put on with dimensionals. Okay, the last thing we're going to do on the front is we are going to use the Starburst Sequins, and we're going to just put a couple of the yellow ones on the card. And they come in 2 different sizes. I like to use my Take Your Pick tool, and we'll put a big one up there with a little one. And then on this one, we're going to put a little one over here. Then we're going to go ahead and add the inside, and we will be all done. There you have it. Pretty card using the Layers of Beauty stamp set, dies, and masks. Thanks for stopping by to watch my video. I greatly appreciate it. Thanks.